Well, what is going on, YouTube? Welcome back to A Therapeutic Edge. Thank you so much for joining me today. Hey, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button. If you like knife content, you have come to the right place. And hit that like button. That helps the channel, helps with the magic algorithm, helps other people find the channel as they're searching for various things. Hey, let's talk about a really good sheep's foot knife from Kubey. Now, I have been a Kubey fan for 6 years, back when they used to make really weird little wood-handled knives. And I have watched them transform themselves into two things. One, a company that makes spectacular knives in all budget ranges, and also a really good OEM, which is fantastic. This is the Kubey Drake 310. Now there is, I've got schmutz on this because I use it all the time. There is a more expensive version of this knife in full titanium. They even make one in an S30V blade, but this one really caught my eye. And I'll tell you why. This is a sheep's foot. It's S30V. It is G10 running on liners. The liners are steel. It's a liner lock, as you can see, and this one's locked up at about 40%. It has a full tie clip, relatively simple construction, but it is ridiculously comfortable and very, very slicey. And I couldn't figure out why I loved this knife so much until I was like, duh, this is my favorite griptilian. This, of course, is the sheep's foot grip. This is the FRN one. These are hard to come by, and they are $127, $120 if you can find one. This is $99. Same blade steel, right? Different deployment, I get that. I've put a titanium clip on this because I really like tie clips. These are hard to find, and they're ever harder. I've even heard some noise that you won't be able to find them because they're going to discontinue the sheep's foot. Now, I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if it's happened, but just some Benchmade does that. This is my favorite, relatively inexpensive Benchmade by far. I love this knife. Kubey has come along and taken the Max to Chuck design, the original Drake, which was considerably larger, shrunk it a little bit, put in a fantastic blade steel. This is a great handful of knife. And for $99, you just can't go wrong. Now, deployment on this one is flipper. It's got this relatively modest flipper tab on it, which works every single time. And of course, it has a deployment hole here, which I can deploy it with, but it is a relatively stiff detent. So if you've got long nails or other things, you may run into a little bit of problem there, but not me. It does have a choil up front, which is a little small. This is a carryover from the large version. I can get my finger in there, but yeah, no. That's just, we're going to call that a really large sharpening choil. Beyond that, this is a fantastically comfortable and easy to use knife. Let's go ahead and get some basic specs out of the way, shall we? The knife overall comes in at just shy, so it's 7 7/8 inches, just shy of 8 inches long. You get 3 and 3.1 inches, basically, just a little over 3 inches of cutting on 3.5 inches of S30V. The grip area from behind that choil all the way to the end here is a full 4 inches, but to out here, which is my finger length, is 3 3/4, which is exactly perfect for my hand. Right. Now, it does roll off a little bit. It doesn't matter. It's a relatively neutral handle, and it's got just enough shape to it. This is a spectacular user. Max to Chuck has done some fantastic designs. He's all over the map right now. I don't have any other ones handy, I don't think, which is a bummer, but I don't need to. So let's do the size comparisons. We're going to go ahead. We'll start back with the standard full-size grip. And as you can see, the Kubey Drake here is just a little bit shorter. You get a little less cutting surface. Again, same materials on the blade, better materials in the handle, about $30 less. You cannot go wrong. Here it is against our old friend, the Rat 1. This, of course, was modded out by BJ Hill at Hilltop Knives and Gear. Yeah, right. It's a little bit smaller than a full-size Rat. What else do we have on the table? Here it is against our old friend, the Bug Out. Right. It's longer than the Bug Out. You get a little bit more cutting because of that very generous sharpening choil. Right. But again, considerably less expensive. I really like this blade shape. I really do. I'm a fan of this sort of sheep's foot thing. This is a marvelous tool that Kubey has made here. If you want to spend the money on the bigger one that's all tie and comes in S90V, I recommend it. But for me, having had one of those, this is the ideal sort of everyday carry, perfect user pocket knife. For the same reason that the full-size Griptilian is that for me. It is good materials, well done, in an excellent sort of everyday cutting tool shape. I mean, the sheep's was marvelous, but it's got just enough style to make it interesting, and I really like that about this knife. Now, this one is particularly nice. It's swedged out at the top here. It's got this beautiful shape to it. My thumb pushes right where it's supposed to on the little bit of jimping they have on the blade, which is very nicely done. Other than that, it's a very clean design. Got a couple of it's got 2 barrel spacers and a spacer that is clearly mounted. I guess that's a lanyard spot. If you wanted a lanyard, there's a little lanyard tube buried back there. The G10 is milled out in such a way that gives it, you can hear it, a little bit of grip. For draw cuts, this shape and the size of my hand work beautifully, right? Because you just really controlled across the material that you're draw cutting. It has just enough tip on it that if you wanted to give something a nudge, this would be really good for that. A little poke. I think Kubey's killed it with this knife. The pocket clip's got a little bit of shape to it. Now, unfortunately, it is not reversible because of that. So there's no lefty love on this knife, and that's kind of a bummer because it would have been really easy to do. But hey, nobody asked me. The blade itself's got a little bit of billboarding. It's still got the Kubey logo on it, and on this side it's got the Max the Chuck logo on it. It says S30V right here. Would I have liked it if it was a little cleaner? Yeah, whatever. It is their fantastic stonewash. They do a really good job at this. And has their KB logoed pivot, as you can see. This is a marvelous knife. If you like this, and a lot of people do, but you can't find one. I found them on Blade HQ. Who has them right now? Knife Center's got them right now. But you don't want to spend $130. You want to spend a little bit less money. Grab a Kubey. If you don't like the access lock, and many people don't, right? There are no Omega springs to break on this knife. Grab one of these. If you're looking for an everyday carry tool, it's got a little style, grab one of these. Let's take a look at what the close profile looks like. It does have a little bit of a flipper tab on it, but we're going to line that up. So we're talking about 1.5 inches overall. The flipper tab has a little bit of jimping on it, but everything else is basically knocked down, so it's not really obtrusive, and the way it hangs in the pocket is sort of out of the way. It's a great tool. But then again, like I said, I'm a Kubey fan. I like the work. I love their OEM stuff. But this is them showing what they can do in the mid-range. And I think it's really an excellently well-done version of that. I mean, they could have dropped D2 on here and sold this knife for, you know, 30 or 40 bucks. But instead, they moved into that middle ground with really well-done S30V. And here we are. Anyway, this is the Kubey 310 Drake. It is a Max the Chuck design. I have been a Therapeutic Edge. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions about this knife or any of my knives, feel free to ask down in the comments below. Thanks for your time today. We'll see you next time.